Hey everyone and welcome to the video. So if you're a Saints Row fan like me, you probably feel that Saints Row 2 is the perfect sequel to Saints Row 1. And I would agree. I think that Saints Row 2 is an unbelievably good sequel, and it builds upon all these things that Saints Row 1 introduced in so many ways. However, I don't think this takes away from what Saints Row 1 is, and today we're going to be looking at 5 things I think Saints Row 1 did better than Saints Row 2. So first we're going to start off with the multiplayer. Now, the multiplayer was such a downgrade in Saints Row 2, it actually kind of hurts my soul a little here. Now, sadly, I'm a bit too young to have experienced Saints Row 1 in its prime, so I'm going off of the reputation in the community here, so I may be wrong, so take this one with a pinch of salt. But I know a vast majority of people who have played Saints Row 1 in its prime and then played Saints Row 2 in its prime say that Saints Row 2 is missing so many key features that Saints Row 1 had. I believe there is a way you could make your own gang on a leaderboard system back in Saints Row 1, and they completely scrapped that. And I thought that was such a cool idea, being able to rise through the ranks and having your gang top of the leaderboard. That sounds unbelievably fun, and I'd love to see that in a modern game, but it appears that they removed that in Saints Row 2. I don't know why, and replaced it with some sort of leveling system. Not a bad system, but I think that most people would agree that Saints Row 1's multiplayer was just better than Saints Row 2's. Next up we have colour palette. I know that I go on about colour palette a lot in games, because to me it's very important. I think that a game can be made or broken by how many colours pop when you're driving around, the vibrance and the saturation of the city. I don't think Saints Row 2's is the worst offender of this. I don't think it's a grey washed out game. I think it's unbelievably playable, and it doesn't really hold back the experience for me. But when you compare it to Saints Row 1's colour palette, it's night and day. Now, the graphic quality is probably lower, but the colours hold it up to today's standards, in my opinion. They pop like crazy. I think it arguably has the best colour palette in the Saints Row series, until the reboot comes out at least. That game looks like it's going to have a really nice colour palette as well. But Saints Row 1's colours are amazing. They are vibrant, they are saturated, and they pop to today's standards, in my opinion. Next up we have the characters. Now, Saints Row 2's characters are definitely some of the most beloved, but I think that Saints Row 1's characters were very well thought out, and with the way the story was written, it had so many plot twists. Now, I'm not talking too much about villains here, or, whatever you want to call them, antagonists. To me, I'm going to push that to the side here. I'm talking about the Saints. I think if you compare Pierce, Shaundi, and Carlos with Dex, Julius, and Troy, it's night and day. Look at the story behind those characters compared to the story behind Pierce and Shaundi, for example. Shaundi smokes weed, and Pierce gets his balls busted. That's essentially the story there. But then you have these other characters that have so many little hidden things going on, like Troy being an undercover police officer, Julius planting the bomb, whether it was intentional development or not. I think that it does make the overall product of the characters so much more enjoyable in Saints Row 1 as opposed to Saints Row 2. Now, one thing I loved about Saints Row 1 was the fact that I could go and crack a safe in a store. I know this is a weird feature, but Saints Row 1 has lots of small little features like that you don't really pick up on until you play Saints Row 2. Now, Saints Row 2 did implement a lot of these features as well, but it took away some of my favourite ones, some notable ones being, as I said, the store cracking or the safe cracking. And when you took drugs or you ate or whatever it was back in Saints Row 1, you would get sort of like superpowers, essentially, and they would help you in fight. And it kind of had a bit of like, technique to combat, and it actually means you could prepare for a fight instead of just rushing in guns blazing like most of us do in Saints Row 2. I think it was a super unique thing, and I'm not sure how I feel about it being taken away in Saints Row 2. These small little things, obviously, that just made the game better for me. And my final thing here is going to be the thing I talk about probably the longest, as it's something I know is going to be quite subjective with many of my viewers out there, and that is the tone. Now, it is no hidden secret that I love partially the wackier games of Saints Row an unbelievable amount, equally as much as I love the more serious ones. However, when I play Saints Row 1, I don't get the same feeling I do when I play 2, 3, or 4. Obviously 3 and 4, but even 2 stepped ahead of this like, oh shit phase. 2 was kind of wacky, and its gameplay was kind of just funny, whilst having obviously serious tones, whereas Saints Row 1 did something incredible. I loved looking at the concept art for this game and thinking, oh shit, this game's going to be serious as hell. And it was. Sure, it had its funny moments, its little one-liners and, funny bits of dialogue that would make anyone playing the game laugh to remind you that, this is a gaming experience. It's supposed to be fun. And yes, it did have its cool, epic moments that would make you go, holy shit, this is like an action movie. But those are a lot more limited down by more serious and realistic missions. Now, Obviously, with it being a game, they're not realistic in the sense of, like, you know, you could go out and do them. But a lot of them are a lot more grounded than even Saints Row 2. And I think that's super unique and something that Saints Row 2 kind of lost. Now, whether this is an improvement or not is completely subjective. I think it is in one way, but isn't in another way, as they kind of sacrifice some gameplay elements for, you know, the more serious tone shift. But either way, they're both incredible games in this aspect. But what Saints Row 1 does is super unique, because when you look, it's kind of like a dark game. Like, if you look at any concept art, or you even look at the box art, you can see, like, Population Zero, or Population to be Determined, sorry, and it's like Welcome Sinners, and it's like, damn, this game looks like it's going to be a gritty gangster experience, and maybe that's something we did lose with the newer games. Not that that's a problem, per se, it's just different. But I definitely think Saints Row 1 did something super unique. And I don't know if any gaming company could really replicate it. Maybe it's a mix of nostalgia. Maybe it's just, you know, memories of feeling like a badass being a gangster playing Saints Row 1 when I was younger. Maybe that's all it is. But all I know is that when I play Saints Row 1, I get a much more serious, darker tone and vibe opposed to the other games. Now, again, whether you think that's a good or a bad thing, that's on you. At the end of the day, games are for fun, and, I mean, some people just don't want to have this super dark tone. And that's fine. That is completely okay. But I think that it's definitely something you could consider an improvement if that is something you're looking for. And I think it does it so well and so uniquely that I haven't seen any other game replicate it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, comment and subscribe. I am doing the, you know, Saints Row content and Dead Island content somewhat frequently. You know, I'm trying to get these two little series to combine on my channel, so I have a couple games to talk about, and it's been a blast. So anyway, I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Goodbye.